They say the most dangerous moments in life are the ones you never see coming. No warning, no signs. Just 1 second of peace. And the next, a nightmare you can never wake up from. On June 22, 2025, in a quiet Stockton neighborhood, a small house filled with balloons, children's laughter, and the soft glow of a birthday candle became the scene of one of the most shocking tragedies in modern California history. A 2-year-old boy's celebration turned into a massacre. What happened that day was not just violence. It was not just a shooting. It was a crime so brutal, so senseless, and so unforgiving that even seasoned investigators struggled to process what they found. This is the story of the Stockton birthday massacre, an attack that took 3 innocent children, tore a family apart, and left a community asking the same haunting question. That Saturday began like hundreds of others in the neighborhood. A warm breeze drifted across East Roosevelt Street. Neighbors were mowing their lawns. Music from passing cars faded in and out. It was the kind of day where time moved slowly, comfortably, peacefully. Inside the small family home at the center of it all, preparations were underway for a birthday party. A child's 2nd birthday, a milestone many families cherish. Relatives brought food, small gifts, toys, snacks, and decorations. A few cousins helped blow up colorful balloons. The birthday boy's mother straightened the corners of the tablecloth for the 15th time, making sure everything looked just right. They weren't wealthy. They weren't trying to impress anyone. This was a simple gathering, just close friends. Family, children playing in the tiny backyard with plastic toys. A Bluetooth speaker playing music softly. Just an ordinary day, an ordinary family, an ordinary party. And yet, in the hours to come, this peaceful setting would become a war zone. By early afternoon, guests began to arrive. Laughter filled the air as the children chased one another around the yard. A few adults set up chairs near the fence. The smell of barbecue drifted into the street. Someone was taking photos with a phone, capturing moments that, tragically, would become the last memories of several of those children alive. One of the girls, just 6 years old, was wearing a pink dress she had begged her mother to let her wear. Another, 9 years old, had a small blue bow clipped neatly into her hair. The youngest girl, only 4, had smeared a bit of icing on her cheek after sneaking a finger into the frosting. She giggled when her mother pretended to scold her. These were children who had no enemies, no problems, no understanding of danger. Their only worry was when they would finally get to cut the birthday cake. At 2:40 p.m., everything still felt perfect. The children were alive. The families were smiling. The world felt safe. But at 2:45 p.m., a black car rolled slowly down the street, and slowly, everything changed. Witnesses would later say the car looked out of place. No one recognized it. No one knew who was inside. Yet, in neighborhoods like this, unexpected vehicles were not unusual. People came and went. Friends visited friends. Drivers got lost. There was no reason, at least not yet, for anyone to feel alarmed. The car crept forward, past the home, then slowed almost to a stop. Inside the yard, children kept playing. Adults kept talking. The birthday boy tugged at his mother's dress, pointing to the balloons. She bent down to pick him up. And then, a window rolled down. A shadow shifted. Someone inside the vehicle raised their arm, and the world collapsed. The first gunshot cracked through the air like a lightning bolt, sharp, violent, unmistakable. For a fraction of a second, no one reacted. It was too sudden, too surreal. There was no reason for a shot to ring out at a child's party. But the second shot, the third, and the fourth, they tore through the yard, through bodies, through innocence. Adults screamed. Children dropped to the ground, some diving instinctively for cover, others simply falling where they stood, struck before they could even turn around. The birthday music stopped. A balloon burst. Someone yelled, "Get down, get down!" Parents shielded their kids with their own bodies as bullets sprayed across the party without mercy or control. The attack lasted less than a minute, but in that minute, everything was destroyed. When the gunfire finally stopped, the car sped off, tires screeching, engine roaring, disappearing within seconds. The sudden silence that followed was more terrifying than the chaos itself. A 4-year-old girl lay motionless near the steps. Her mother rushed to her, screaming her name, shaking her, begging her to wake up. A 6-year-old, dressed in pink, collapsed in the yard. A relative pressed her hands against the child's small body, trying desperately to keep her alive, whispering, "Stay with me, stay with me." The oldest, 9 years old, had been closest to the fence. She was just trying to run, trying to escape, but she didn't make it. All 3 girls died. 3 young lives taken before they even had a chance to grow. These were not teenagers caught in gang violence, not adults involved in conflict, not people with enemies. They were children. Children who were supposed to be eating cake, not dying in their parents' arms. The aftermath of the attack looked like a battlefield. Broken toys, spilled drinks, a baby's sock lying in the dirt, parents screaming, falling to their knees, begging God to intervene. Phones rang non-stop as witnesses called 911. Paramedics rushed in. Police cars flooded the street, lights flashing violently against the quiet houses. Officers held back tears as they tried to help. Some had seen shootings before, but nothing like this. Not children like these. Not a backyard birthday slaughtered in seconds. Neighbors gathered outside, horrified. People hugged each other, cried, held their heads in disbelief. The entire block felt the weight of something so monstrous that words couldn't describe it. One mother simply repeated the same sentence over and over. "My babies, my babies, my babies." In the hours that followed, investigators scrambled to gather evidence. Shell casings, witness accounts, doorbell camera footage, security recordings, anything that might reveal the identity of the shooters. But the truth was devastating. No one had seen the suspects clearly. No license plate, no faces, just a dark car, multiple shooters, and gunfire that didn't care who it hit. Police quickly realized that the attack was not random. Someone had deliberately fired into a home full of families. But why? Was the intended target someone at the party? Was it retaliation? A mistaken identity? A gang conflict? A personal vendetta? No theory has ever been confirmed. No motive ever proven. And to this day, no arrests have been made. The killers vanished, as if swallowed by the city itself. The days that followed were filled with mourning. Candlelight vigils covered the sidewalk. Stuffed animals, flowers, drawings, and notes were placed near the victims' photos. People who didn't even know the children felt compelled to come, to show support, to cry alongside the grieving families. At one vigil, a pastor said, "We are not here to understand. We are here to stand together." But even unity can't take away pain, especially the kind of pain created by losing a child, or worse, losing 3 children in a single afternoon. The families were shattered, the community traumatized, and Stockton, a city familiar with violence, felt something crack inside itself. Because this was different. This was beyond comprehension. Detectives refused to let the case go cold. They reviewed hours of footage from neighboring streets, tracked down anyone who had driven through the area that day, followed leads that went nowhere, ran ballistic tests, interviewed witnesses again and again. But the suspects were ghosts, there and gone within moments. Professionals or reckless amateurs lucky enough to escape. To this day, investigators believe there are people in the community who know more than they're saying. Someone recognized the car. Someone overheard a conversation. Someone was told something by someone else. But fear is powerful. Fear can keep people silent. Fear can bury the truth. The families still beg anyone with information to speak up, to find courage, to give justice to the children who never came home. The street where the shooting happened no longer feels the same. Children don't play outside anymore. Parents look over their shoulders before stepping out. The sound of a car slowing down causes panic. A popping car tire makes people drop to the ground. The trauma lingers in every home, every heart, every memory. The birthday boy, the child turning 2, will grow up with a story he cannot remember but will never escape. A day meant to celebrate his life, marked forever by the loss of others. The surviving children carry invisible wounds, nightmares, fear of loud noises, anxiety around strangers, Memories of running, screaming, hiding behind adults who were just as afraid. And for the parents who lost their daughters, life will never return to normal. A part of them was taken that day, a part that cannot be replaced. As time passes, the same questions echo through the minds of everyone touched by the tragedy. Why did they choose this house? Why shoot at children? Who were they trying to kill? Are they still out there? Will they do it again? Will justice ever come? But perhaps the most painful question of all is the one that keeps the parents awake at night. Could anything have saved them? And the truth is, no one knows. Maybe the shooters made a mistake. Maybe the attack was targeted. Maybe it was random. Maybe it was planned. The lack of answers is its own form of torture. And so, the Stockton birthday massacre remains not only a tragedy, but a mystery. Years may pass. New cases may emerge. New tragedies may dominate the headlines. But for Stockton, this one stays. Burned into the city's identity, etched into its collective memory. Because the victims weren't criminals. They weren't adults involved in conflict. They were children celebrating a birthday. And when children die in violence, the world breaks a little. Today, the families still hold memorials, still share photos, still keep the bedrooms untouched, still wait for answers, still pray for justice, and still fight to ensure that what happened to their daughters never happens again. The Stockton birthday massacre is more than a crime. It is a wound, a scar on a city, a reminder of how fragile life is and how violently it can be taken. 3 little girls lost their futures. A family lost its foundation. A community lost its innocence. And the truth? The truth is still missing. But one thing remains. The promise that these children will not be forgotten. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. This is the story of the Stockton birthday massacre, the tragedy that shook America, and the case still waiting for justice.